Okay. Well, it looks like we're having some data issues and how data laws are taking over.
Yeah. So, all right. So, all right. That was okay. So the third topic here is yeah. All right. Big tech threatens to pull out of Hong Kong following proposed data laws. So what's happening is in 2019 protests in China, there was a lot of what they call doxing. Doxing is a term used for taking someone's personal information and putting it on the internet for everyone to see and ridicule, right? So they were doing it in protest to a lot of officials, police officers, people that were part of the system. They were putting up their name, putting up things they like, trying to just get all the information they could and basically display them for ridicule, right? That was a form of protest that's pretty aggressive, and I don't think it's really a good thing. I think it is a form of cyber abuse in a way because it's just all personal information pictures targeting individuals, not even high level individuals, any individual, with the hope of ruining their social status and hurting them in society.
Yeah.
So definitely, so that's what they want to do, right? So they want to bring these laws about it, and they said, okay, we're going to punish these laws. So what happens is they started making companies more liable, saying that you're liable for the content that is posted on your websites, and if there's any claims of doxing, we find it, we can hold individuals at the local offices that operate here. We can hold them accountable to being investigated, to facing prosecution, right? So the big tech companies or a group for these big tech companies came out and said, representing specifically Facebook, Twitter, and Google as some of the biggest names here, saying like this is unacceptable because the way the laws are currently being structured, because it puts criminal investigations and prosecutions about user content and brings it to the people working at those local businesses and those staffers, putting our staff in undue harm, even though they might have nothing to do with it. So the only real way to avoid these issues would be to stop offering services in Hong Kong, because then you couldn't run the risk of having any problems whatsoever. And this could this so and right now that market is about 7.5 million people, so it's not really the biggest market. And what's important to note here is they're not leaving China; they would leave the city of Hong Kong and just find another city or location to be headquartered and do their business in, which is more hospitable to them, which is typical for companies to do when they find laws that are not favorable to them. And they feel that this is a disproportionate and unnecessary response, right? Which I 100% agree, right? If it on like Facebook would have posted some personal information about his neighbor somewhere in Hong Kong, there's no reason why the staff at the Facebook's local office in Hong Kong should be subject to prosecution. They didn't do it; it's not their fault. They're kind of trying to put the blame on tech companies to do more censorship because China is having a kind of like a reforming of the national name and its history moving forward. So it wants to crack down on everything. It wants to crack down on all kinds of protests. I agree that doxing isn't exactly a very uh, peaceful protest because it is targeting individuals and their own personal lives specifically. So, but it's about these companies coming in to fire their personal staff, and that's why they're threatening to say, "Hey, listen, if this doesn't change, we'll go find somewhere else to do business." Because why would we put ourselves in harm's way? A bill is expected by the end of the year, and these companies are calling for a more clearly defined scope for these rules, so they're not so ambiguous. Because as they put it now, some of them are saying that you could, even if a picture, right, a photo that is considered that people don't like is put up on the internet or Facebook, or that the viewer doesn't like or approve of, that could be considered doxing as well. So it gets into this weird area where it's like it kind of flexes over into like the freedom of speech. Even though the spokeswoman said this will not do anything to freedom of speech, I feel like there is a very fine line there between aggressive personal information sharing to hurt somebody and then just generalize like this is what freedom of speech is. So that's where that thin line has to be observed, and I feel these companies find that language to be too vague and therefore find themselves in the firing line. So
I mean,
that's it.
Hong Kong has been having protests for 2019 to 2020, and I think maybe COVID kind of delayed those protests. I can't really say that for certain, but I know a lot of countries locked down, kind of coincidentally, and with this reemergence of, I guess, freedom of speech being in question, this does seem like a big blow to the individual person who is just trying to either express themselves or call out
Right.
injustice. And
Right. I think there is a very thin line between those two things that has to be carefully observed, because you can abuse and take someone's, like, you can pre-show people's addresses, where they live, who their family members are, what they do for a job, because you don't like them in town. I find that to be very dangerous
mhm.
because human beings have that could cause real harm and damage to that person. But at the same time, I think that there's also a lot of other information that can fall under these laws that should not be censored and should not be maintained, should not be watched. So I think the tech companies are like, it's just easier for us to leave and do business somewhere else than have to try to figure out what the ridiculous, oh, somebody made a wrong tweet. I guess 30 of our staffers are going to be held in a Hong Kong prison for a month under, being detained while they do investigations on our headquarters. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
I feel like if you offer up your own information, like solely with your own consent, that's for and it's personal, then that's on you. But if someone else is offering up your information without your consent, that's where I feel like that's where you cross the line.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like if someone's sharing my address because they don't like me, they're like, fuck that white guy. Here's his address. Here's where his family lives. Here's everybody's names. Go get him. Like that, I'd be like, oh, all right. Well, what the fuck,
exactly.
Man? But if they're just like, I don't like Wyatt because he likes this. Yeah, okay. Right. I'm moving now.
Wyatt's moving. Like,
I'm moving now. Yes, you'll never find me. I'm living in the forest. That's great.
Yeah. Oh, hey, that's my address. Well,
I mean,
that was nice.
That's my house. Look, that's me waving in live. Google's updating live today. Yeah.
Great.
That's what happened with like Facebook though. Facebook, when it just came out, everyone's like, dude, I'm gonna put like my birth date, where I'm at all the time. I'm gonna tell them like where my pet's dog's owner takes their dogs to.
I'm gonna share every picture. I'm gonna spend every day on Instagram taking a picture of everything I do.
And then they found out like, oh my gosh, they're doing something with that information. What?
Oh no, we don't like that.
Oh no!
Like, oh my god.
Oh no!
I just wanted to post that for the whole world to see, not so they could actually, look at
use it for their own gain.
Wait, why did Mark Zuckerberg just get an award from the FBI for like best data on people?
Thank
like,
you
for intelligence. Like really? I was just right there. Like he got that award from the FBI, and everyone's just like, what just happened? So like, your data is what just gave him that award. So you're welcome. You know. So
right.
That's where big tech
that's the other
really
thing people have to know.
there.
Right. The other thing people have to know too is like, if you don't want people to know all about you, you probably shouldn't share every moment of your life on the internet.
Whoa. Overstepping, Wyatt. Overstepping.
That's crazy, right? Like you shouldn't share every one of your family members, link everybody's account, save your birthday,
FBI's at my door.
Timeline. Like, oh hey, you can't be telling people how to do that.
They're shutting us down.
Like, why are you on Facebook and Instagram again? The government forced me to. They make me take 2 pictures a day every day. You know what I'm doing.
They're tracking my family.
Why do you think we make our agree policies so long? Because nobody's gonna read them. Nobody.
I don't read.
You want to use this? It's like all your friends are on here. Why aren't you?
Plus they'll update it the next week. They'll be like, we have an updated version. I'm like, you really want me to read another 50 pages of this so if I can find the one sentence you changed?
It's like, no.
That's just not gonna happen. I know I'm getting screwed when I sign it. You're screwing me.
Yep.